Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Thank you. Today is Wednesday, August 7, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network, Vice President Kamala Harris, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz take to the road. They are in Wisconsin. In about 30 minutes, they'll be live in Detroit, Michigan. Y'all, 50,000 people RSVP'd for the event in Detroit. They had to move it to an airport hangar to accommodate everyone. We'll break down what is happening in this particular race. Republicans are mystified. They are attacking Governor Tim Walz for his military service. They also are attacking him. Y'all gonna love this. They're attacking him for his leadership after the murder of George Floyd. ABC News has dropped some audio of Donald Trump praising him in real time. Y'all, we're going to break it all down for you. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time. And it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, a massive turnout in Eau Claire, Wisconsin early this afternoon for Vice President Kamala Harris and her new VP pick, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Thousands of people gathered there in Wisconsin, some literally walking and parking 2.5 miles away just to get to this location. Look at those lines. Now, some of you may say, well, Wisconsin, here's why this matters. Wisconsin borders Minnesota. So they share some of the same TV market. 400,000 people in Wisconsin often see the news coming from Minnesota. And so you look at this energy, this enthusiasm. New polling data shows that Vice President Kamala Harris has flipped the numbers where she's now leading there. Also, enthusiasm, and this is, I'm sort of thinking back to my man Al Pacino, not Al Pacino, Robert De Niro in The Untouchables when he goes enthusiasm. Well, guess what? The Democrats are closing the enthusiasm gap there in Wisconsin. The numbers were very low when President Joe Biden was in the campaign. Well, new polling data shows you're now talking about a significant shift, if you will, in this race. The Democrats have closed it to almost 62%. So they still lag slightly behind Republicans. But you're seeing how this has completely changed the election. In addition to that, when you look at also new polling data shows that right now, Senator Kamala Harris has opened a massive lead among African Americans against Donald Trump. Right here, 80-16. 80-16. That is a 64-point lead, which of course is dramatically different. We had Vote Black PAC on. We had a new voter project, but what we're now seeing is that black folks moving aggressively towards Vice President Kamala Harris, as opposed to Donald Trump. And even in this particular poll here, they overestimate a lot of that black support. And so what you're seeing is that says 16% in many other polls. It's really topping out at about 14%. I want to bring in my panel right now, folks. Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, political analyst Robert Patillo, host, People, Passion, Politics, News and Talk 1380, WAOK. Tanya Washington, professor, Georgia State University, College of Law out of Atlanta. Avis, I want to start with you. You cannot, Avis, account in no polls. You can't do it when it comes to fundraising. You can't do it when it comes to crowds. You cannot put your finger on what happens when people are energized, focused, excited. That thing begins to spread like a virus.
Absolutely. That is something that money can't pay. And it is critical in terms of what wins election. Prior to this switch in terms of the candidacy, as you just noted, enthusiasm among the Democratic Party was really quite low. And we saw a great deal of enthusiasm on the other side. Now we are seeing just amazing amounts of enthusiasm with this ticket. I would not be surprised if this is a ticket that expands the map. I would not be surprised if this is a ticket that at the end of the day actually overperforms what Obama was able to do. And as I was looking at that data that you just showed on the screen there, another noticeable data point is that Vice President Harris was also leading among women writ large, not just black women, women overall. Which is huge given what we have known in the past with regards to the voting behavior of white women. So I will say that this is going to be a groundbreaking election, and she's going to energize black voters. She's going to energize young voters. And I believe she's going to energize women all across the racial dynamic.
Robert, you see this photo here, white dudes for Kamala Harris. They were, of course, that was a photo coming out of Wisconsin today. So much attention, obviously, is focused on turnout in Milwaukee, but white turnout in Wisconsin is crucial. It's a very white state, and that was one of the things that I said was going to matter when it comes to who her pick was. How do they hold on to the white coalition that President Joe Biden had and that he had in 2020, and he still was holding on to a week after the June 27th debate?
You're absolutely correct. And I think this is why the coalition effort on the Democratic side is so important. Because if you look at the Trump side of the aisle, it really is just Donald Trump and a bunch of vagabonds. You know, you have Hulk Hogan, Amber Rose, Dana White, kind of this cadre of sycophants that are campaigning for Trump. But he can't lean on the traditional Republican base. The Romneys aren't campaigning for Trump. The McCains aren't campaigning for Trump. The Bushes aren't campaigning for Trump. Governors, senators around the country are running away from Trump as fast as possible. But on the Democratic side of the aisle, not only do you have Vice President Harris to solidify her base, now you have Governor Tim Walz, who is everybody's gym coach. Everyone had a Tim Walz in their life at some point in time. Mine with my 6th grade social studies teacher, Mr. Weeks, who told me I could do it back when no one else was saying that I could. Everyone has had a teacher like Tim Walz in their life. You add to that the fact that you will have the Clintons campaigning for Kamala Harris. You have the Obamas who will be campaigning for Kamala Harris. You'll have Joe Biden still campaigning for Kamala Harris across the Rust Belt. So in places like Scranton, in places like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, in places where he's still strong, he still has a voice in those areas. You have Chuck Schumer, you have James Clyburn, you have Nancy Pelosi. You have a coalition effort on the Democratic side of the aisle that you just can't match on the Republican side of the aisle because they have very much exiled anybody who's not a dyed-in-the-wool Trump Republican and called them a rhino. We're now seeing more Republicans nationwide coming out to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in their campaign. Gen Z is now motivated, even though Trump did a live stream with a YouTuber, TikToker, kick streamer, whatever it may be. We're seeing the Gen Z is now energized around the Harris Walz ticket, and I think it's going to be something we see over the next several weeks where that intensity builds up, where the cultural zeitgeist moves to this place. We're starting to see that Philly rally yesterday felt like an Obama 2008 rally. And that's hard to replicate in American politics. And when you break that barrier, it's hard to go back from there. Kamala Harris still clearly has what George H.W. Bush called the big mo. And now with the convention coming up in several weeks and many other big touchstone moments, she has an opportunity to put this race away with continued strong performances.
See, Tanya, here's the thing here. What Robert just laid out there, I think people don't realize. The Koch network, they're not backing Trump. George W. Bush, not backing Trump. And I was talking to a Republican, and there are about 4 or 5 major networks not backing him, which means they're also deprived not only of their money, but their ground game. The Republicans closed a lot of field offices when they took over the RNC. So they are at a disadvantage on the ground. And so because of these rallies and the energy, the volunteers signing up, all of these different things, you are now seeing the result of how energy, how enthusiasm, hope, aspirational views shifts then to energy on the ground, giving, but also donors. And that, to me, also is a game changer, because now in these critical states of the Harris-Walz campaign, they're just driving people, knocking on doors, phone banking, doing those things. That's how you win elections, not TV ads, ground game.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the donors. Since the announcement of her VP pick, they've raised over $20 million. Not only are major kind of would-be surrogates for Donald Trump not stumping for him, he's also coming to places like Georgia. He came to Georgia State last weekend and insulting a very popular governor in Georgia, which means that people who voted for Governor Kemp and voted for Biden are going to be reminded that they can do both. They can support the governor who Trump maligned repeatedly throughout his rant, and they can support the Democratic candidate. Not only do we have white dudes for
Tanya,
Republicans for Kamala, and that's an important demographic.
Well, don't forget, he insulted the governor, but he also insulted the governor's wife, which also pissed off a lot of folks there in Georgia, Robert.
Absolutely, and I know people who were at the rally. You know, Shelley was at the rally, who you had on last week, and many other people. And the feeling inside of the auditorium was almost that of a funeral. It wasn't the 2016 exuberant Trump rally. This was very much an old man talking about all his grievances before a crowd in a half-empty stadium. And it's one of those things where when you look at President Trump, he has not evolved at all since 2015, 2016. It's still just him ranting about his grievances, and it very much has that feeling of an old rock and roll group on their farewell tour, as opposed to a vision for the future of America. And even when you see J.D. Vance today on the tarmac at in Wisconsin, trying to chase down Kamala Harris to create a media moment, it shows how starved for attention they are on that side of the aisle. It shows you that they are in a place where, well, they haven't had positions, they haven't had policies that the American people connected to, and now they're in a place of trying to catch up with something like 70 days left until early voting starts. And I think that what we're going to see going forward is the consolidation of the Democratic Party and an increasingly desperate Republican Party. Because remember, Donald Trump is not running to win this election. He is running for his very life. If Donald Trump does not win in November, he will die in a jail cell, and he knows that. That the only thing between him and having the rest of his life spent in prison somewhere in the United States of America is winning this election. So we're going to see a more desperate campaign. We're going to see more personal attacks. We're going to see a campaign that understands that this is their last shot, not just to win this election, but to maintain his freedom. And when you're dealing with a candidate like that, you have to have a campaign that is disciplined, that is on message, that is motivating, and that is inspiring Americans. Trump is running on a campaign of fear. The Harris-Walz ticket is running on a campaign of hope. And for anybody who had a question about why Tim Walz was selected to be vice president, just look at him in the background while Kamala was speaking. Everyone needs a hype man like that. He is the white Flavor Flav right now. He is out there giving the energy. He's giving old granddad energy that everybody wants and everybody feels and everyone needs. Even though him and Kamala are the same age, he very much appeals to much of middle America. And all you have to say for those black voters who were kind of teetering on the edge with Trump and asking, well, what has this ticket ever done for black people? All you have to say is he is the governor that brought justice for the family of George Floyd. That if it was not for him appointing Keith Ellison to lead that prosecution, those cops probably would have went free. Just play the speech of him speaking at George Floyd's funeral. Play the speech of him calling the CNN reporters who were wrongfully racially profiled. That is the antidote. So not only does he play well in middle America and with white American and white American men, he plays amazingly in black America. Someone told me he's the one white man that has a platinum ticket to the cookout because of what he did to secure justice for the family of George Floyd, and that's going to play dividends going forward.
So here's what is very interesting here when you look at, and this is why I say, Avis, when I know your campaign is desperate. So this was today because J.D. Vance was in Wisconsin as well, and he decided to show his behind by holding a news conference on the tarmac, and then he decided to walk over to Vice President Harris's plane, Air Force Two. So you see this little goofy fool right there in the middle. And so here's the video of him sitting here talking to the media. So this is the video from the other side of him walking over, going over to the cameras, demanding. So listen to this here. So guys, turn the audio up. Listen to this fool. All right, folks. So I'm going to sit here and try to pull another, because try to see what's going on with the audio here. And so what he did was he was complaining that she won't take any questions, and yeah, he won't take any questions. So here we go.
But I also thought you guys might get lonely because the vice president doesn't answer questions from reporters and hasn't for 17 days. Have they given you guys an explanation for why she won't take questions from reporters? No? Nobody? Okay, great. Well, I hope that she changes her mind because it'd be good for the American people, and I think it'd be good for you all if she actually ran a real campaign instead of one from a basement with a teleprompter. So have a good one, guys. See ya.
What would you like to hear from her?
I'd love her to answer your questions. I'd love her to just answer what she wants to do and also explain why every single position she has changed. She pretends to be a prosecutor, yet she pretends to be a tough-on-crime prosecutor, and yet here she is wanting to defund the police. She's the Bourgeois, yet she's opened up the American southern border. This is a person who has to answer the questions from the media, and it's disgraceful that she runs for you guys. It's also insulting to the American people. But anyway, we're going to go do our event. I appreciate you guys being here. I wish she paid you some more attention. See ya.
Oh, so JD is so concerned, and he's sitting here. I wish y'all. Well, I wish you would pay you more attention. This is when you're desperate, Avis. This is when nothing you've done can stick. And now you're begging the media. She won't do interviews with y'all.
Weird. It does come off desperate. It comes off. It has the energy of the pick-me guy in high school that nobody wants to date. I mean, that's really what it looks like. And for him to have the unmitigated gall to say that she has changed her mind on every issue, when he is the one who's riding shotgun with the person that he called the American version of Hitler. He's the one that's changed his name not once, not twice, but 3 times. That's pretty rich. The reason why he's going over there is because, honestly, they are starving for media attention. Nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody is paying attention to them. And he is trying to get some camera time, for free because, listen, they weren't there to cover him, okay? And so he's pretty jealous. He wanted to get in front of the cameras for a few minutes and say a little something. But the bottom line is he ends up looking like the desperate kid that nobody wanted to talk to in the cafeteria. And he still is going to continue to be that person who is trying to raise these sort of faux issues because he doesn't have anything to lean on. The bottom line is they don't want to talk issues because the American people does not want to do what they want to do, Mr. Wright, the preface to Project 2025. And so because he can't talk about issues, he's going to raise these faux issues and continue to look like this desperate little man that he actually is.
Tanya, this is a photo of J.D. Vance today speaking to not that many people in the parking lot. So I guess we now know why he was a little bit upset with the media attention. And the point that Avis made is absolutely correct. What's driving this campaign nuts is that they do not control the narrative. That's what's driving them crazy. They can't control the narrative. And we all know Donald Trump is going to go crazy. He is, you know right now, he's already trying to figure out what outlandish things can I say to pull back a lot of this attention because I need it. That's how his mind operates. Tanya, you're on mute.
I hope that it
there you go.
I hope it drives him to the debate stage. I hope that they are so desperate for media attention that they will take Vice President Harris up on her offer to be there and have a discussion about the policy differences between a hopeful future and a hateful past. And if the only way they can get media attention is to talk about their opponents, then that's a win for the Harris campaign. So I need everybody listening to really understand what I'm about to tell you. And that is, if we're talking about media, now, I'm in media, I've been a journalist, I've been in media since I was 14 years old. But Robert, I dare say, and you see how the Republicans are saying, oh, she do no interviews, and you see some journalists out there, oh, she should be doing big interviews, she should be doing sit-down interviews, or things along those lines. Robert, it makes sense that she not do it right now. Mm-hmm. Here's why. If I'm Vice President Kamala Harris, look, come Sunday, it's been 3 weeks since Joe Biden announced he's not running. They have been running a flawless campaign. You are focused on building your infrastructure. You're focused on raising additional money. You're focused on getting your VP out there. So if I'm her, I can do interviews later. From a political standpoint, mm-hmm. it is from a political standpoint, it is smart strategy to do what they're doing because poll numbers are showing, fundraising numbers are showing, volunteer numbers are showing the strategy is working. You don't change it because J.D. Vance is whining like a little punk.
Well, not just that. When Trump sat down with the NABJ, he brought his own damn moderator. Mm-hmm. What do you mean she hasn't sat down for any interviews? He had to walk in there of his own AstroTurf DEI black woman, Harris Faulkner, because he was afraid that the mean black ladies were going to ask him tough questions, so he had to bring his own person. They had a debate scheduled for September 10th on ABC because he was afraid to answer questions from George Stephanopoulos. He invented his own debate on September 4th on Fox News with Fox News moderators. And I don't want to hear a damn thing about who's scared to sit down for interviews until Donald Trump comes here to the Black Star Network on a Wednesday and sits down with Roland for an hour, and the panel will sit there and ask him questions. If he does that, then by all means, Vice President Harris should go do some more sit-down interviews. But until that happens, and as long as you were saying, I want to handpick the media that interviews me, I don't want to hear a damn thing about it. And look, Vice President Harris right now, as you said, is running a flawless campaign with Gen Z. You saw former President Trump sit down with a streamer to do an interview on Kick because he thought that would get him some Gen Z votes. But right now, what is Gen Z saying on social media? Kamala Harris is brat, the word of the summer. And what are they saying about Donald Trump and particularly J.D. Vance? They're saying that J.D. Vance is a fan in the Kendrick Lamar sense. Those are very different things to Gen Z voters. And people who think that the old school sitting down with Walter Cronkite interview will change the narrative, it will not. Kamala Harris is getting more traction right now, particularly with young voters and African-American voters and women voters, by being the summer brat than J.D. Vance is getting for being a fan the entire time.
Folks, this is a live shot right here. This is a live shot of Vice President Kamala Harris arriving at the airport in Detroit. As I said, guys, pull the audio up, please. As I said, they had 50,000 RSVPs. They had to move this event to an airport hangar at the airport. What does that tell you about the excitement and the energy for this campaign? This is crazy, Avis. 50,000 RSVPs.
That is history. We are watching history right now. And what's incredible about this is that this is just the beginning. I mean, you just think about what is going to happen at the Democratic National Convention. You think about the momentum that is even going to be increased after that well-produced convention. We are just starting. You guys were just mentioning Gen Z. I am the mom of the Gen Z. My youngest son is in that. And he told me the other day something that he has never said. He said, this is the type of candidate that I have been waiting my entire life. And the reason why he said that was not just because Vice President Harris is, it's the type of campaign that she's running. He's excited to see that for once, Democrats have a spine. He's excited to see that for once, Democrats are fighting back. Democrats have, in his mind, got over about go low, I go high. And that has gotten him and his generation excited, and I believe millions of others excited all across this nation.
You know, Tanya, I've covered lots of concerts. I've covered lots of entertainers. And them getting off that plane, walking up to this rally, reminded me of seeing entertainers when they come on a scene and the crowds absolutely go crazy. She and Walz are getting rock star energy.
They're getting rock star energy because they're giving rock star energy. They are owning the big stage. They are bringing a hopeful message that is energized. You can't manufacture this. This is spontaneous. This is organic. This is authentic. You know, the Republicans are having to figure out how to respond.
The person, Tanya, 1 second. Tanya, 1 second. Right now on stage is the Lieutenant Governor of Michigan, Garland Gilchrist. Let's go live to Detroit.
Y'all ever seen somebody get off a plane like that before? That's because we got a history maker in Kamala Harris, don't we? We are so proud to have her back here in the state of Michigan, and we're going to chant for her like we never chanted before. Show me what democracy looks like. Y'all look like people who are voting for the future. A future that is as big and loud and diverse and powerful as this crowd. A future where everyone has access to a dream of health and wealth and opportunity, and that nobody is left out or left behind. You see, that is a future that is free, y'all. Free from not being small-minded. Free from the clutch of racism and xenophobia. This is a freedom and a future that we must fight for every day, and that fight starts right here in Michigan. But the thing I love about that future is it is a future that we can make happen. We own the process of democracy that delivers that future, and we will reject everyone who stands in our way of that victory. This is about love, not hatred. This is about inclusion, not exclusion. This is about generosity, not selfishness. And look, that's the biggest difference between us and those who oppose us. Y'all can't even imagine how small-minded Donald Trump is. Like it's smaller than you think. His running mate, J.D. Vance, is too afraid of the future to have you be a part of it. But not us. We do not fear our future, we welcome it. And you know who else doesn't fear our future? My President Kamala Harris. Our vice president has spent more time in Michigan than any vice president in the last 40 years because she believes in us. And I've been proud to stand tall with her almost every single time she done set foot in the state of Michigan. But we all stand tall together, right? We stand tall for a future that's free of gun violence. We stand tall for a future that is free of poverty. We stand tall for a future that is free of pollution. We stand tall for a future that is free of any limitations. You see, her fight for abortion rights, that's our fight. Her fight against climate change is our fight. Her fight for voting rights is our fight. And like she says, when we fight, when we fight. Now, I know a little bit of something about being a strong number two, working alongside Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Isn't she amazing? The best governor in America, ain't that right? But I'm so hyped that the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz, came here to Michigan to introduce himself to y'all and to America and to show you the freedom he's gonna fight for. We have the chance of a lifetime right here and right now. The question is not whether this is our moment. The question is whether we will step up to meet this moment. And there is one thing that I know in my heart, that we will meet this moment. For the men who are hungry for a prosperous future, we will meet this moment. For the women hoping for equal rights and equitable opportunity, we will meet this moment. For the young Michiganders who will invent the future when we invest in their right now, we will meet this moment. And for every American ready to walk forward, we will win this moment. So let's win Michigan for our families, for our seniors, for our union brothers and sisters, for our teachers. Let's win Michigan for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and let's win Michigan for the United States of America. God bless you. Let's go win.
Please welcome UAW President Shawn Fain.
UAW's in the house. Hello, Michigan. This is how we do it in Michigan, home of the big house. We go big or we go home. On behalf of the 1 million active and retired UAW members, I'm honored to welcome to Michigan the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris. You know, as President of the UAW, I have the honor of fighting for economic and social justice for our members, for the entire working class. From the bargaining table to the ballot box. What we bargain for can be taken away tomorrow in the halls of Congress. To me, this election's real simple. It's about one question. It's a question we made famous in the labor movement. Which side are you on? And this is a simple question in this election, because on one side, you got a billionaire that serves himself and his billionaire buddies. He lies, he cheats, and he steals his way to the top. He's a lapdog for the billionaire class. And on the other side, we got a strong, intelligent, and I'm just going to put it bluntly, a badass woman. And I got to finish that sentence. A badass woman who stood on the picket line with striking workers. A leader who opposed free trade deals that have devastated the working class in this country, devastated our communities. A leader who takes on corporate greed and wins. Kamala Harris is a champion for the working class, and like all great leaders, Kamala Harris knows it's not all about her. It's about the people. It's about the quality of people she surrounds herself with. And you know, yesterday, Kamala Harris showed great leadership when she chose Tim Walz as her running mate. And it's no secret, our union was loud and proud about who we supported for vice president, and Tim Walz was at the top of that list. He's one of us. He's a working class guy. He knows working class values. He was a teacher, a coach. That's right, there's teachers in the house. Another group of people who've been left behind. He's a teacher, he's a coach, he's a governor, but best of all, he's a proud union member. And he always puts the working class first. With the Harris-Walz ticket, we have what I call the dynamic duo for democracy. Meanwhile, on the other side, we know who we're dealing with. Donald Trump is a scab. And his sidekick isn't any better. J.D. Vance is a vulture. That's right. You know, every time Donald Trump gets a chance, he trashes our union and he trashes the working class. He comes to Michigan. He talks about he's going to bring back the auto industry. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump doesn't know shit about the auto industry. And he doesn't give a damn about the working class in this country. And we got proof of that. You know, once upon a time, he was president of this country. And while he was president, auto plants were fleeing the country. In fact, while he was president, Ford's Romeo engine plant closed. GM's Baltimore transmission plant closed. GM's assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio closed. In fact, in the UAW, we love using facts. And facts are indisputable. Not alternative facts that Donald Trump uses, or what we all call lies. We use facts. And the fact is this: Donald Trump did nothing to help auto workers when he was president. In 2019, GM workers went on strike for 40 days. Donald Trump was president. These workers went on strike to try to save plants that were slated to close, to try to fight for a future. Donald Trump said nothing, and Donald Trump did nothing to help auto workers. You want to know where Kamala Harris was in 2019? She was on the picket line with striking workers. Kamala Harris stands shoulder to shoulder with working class people, not for a picture, not for publicity, but because it's the right thing to do. When Kamala Harris, as vice president, she's worked with us and helped us bring jobs back to Lordstown, Ohio, where workers are left behind. Vice President Harris took action so workers who were forced to leave Lordstown, Ohio under Donald Trump are now returning home. She and President Biden worked with us to save a plant in Belvedere, Illinois that was slated to close. That's the difference. Donald Trump is all talk, and talk is cheap. Kamala Harris walks the walk. She does the work, and when help was needed, she showed up. So now it's our turn. It's our turn to stand up, to speak up, and to show up for Vice President Harris. You know, for months, Donald Trump's went around trashing our state, trashing our industry, and trashing the American auto worker, saying he was against electric vehicles. And then something happened. We saw a transformation in Trump. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a good transformation. And don't worry, Donald Trump's always going to be a scab. But we saw Elon Musk announce that he's going to give Donald Trump $45 million a month. And all of a sudden, guess what? Donald Trump changed his tune. And let me quote what he said. I'm for electric cars. I have to be because, you know, Elon Musk endorsed me very strongly, so I have no choice. End of quote. Donald, you got it. Donald Trump is bought and paid for by the billionaire class. is a sellout, and as president, he already showed us that under him, America is for sale to the highest bidder. He's the epitome of what's wrong with America. When three families in America have as much wealth as the bottom 50% of Americans, we have a crisis on our hands. Millions of Americans are working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, working 2 and 3 jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, just to scrape to get by. That's right. This election is a choice. It's a choice between the working class having a shot at a better future or going backwards as millions of people get left behind. This is why I love Detroit. We're in a fight for what we call the 4 core issues. And that's what this election's about. Living wages, not minimum wages, living wages, so one job you can live. Adequate health care, so when you get sick or have something go wrong, you don't have to lose your home over it. Retirement security. You know, 60% of Americans have no retirement savings. Not because they're not responsible, because by the time they pay their bills, there's nothing left. Okay, we need a medic over here. You got it? Okay, you got it. Thank you. That's what we do. We stand up for each other. We look out for each other. We got each other's back. You know, and the 4th thing we stand for, it's about getting our time back and taking our lives back. So we don't spend our lives working 12 hours a day. We can actually spend time with our families. So let's be clear. This is a fight against corporate greed.
All right, folks, we're going to continue to cover this rally. I believe Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is going to be speaking, and, of course, Vice President Kamala Harris, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Keep up the dual box, please. I want to monitor the rally. I want to go back to my panel here. The thing that I think is important here, we talked about this here before we went to the break, 50,000 people who RSVP. When you talk about that level of energy, and my God, Robert, was that a rock star entrance? Them coming up. You heard the Lieutenant Governor reference that entrance. I actually sent him a text, and so I'm going to pull the video when they were stepping off the plane. But man, you know, again, here's the thing that's important, and I need people who are watching and listening to understand. Michael Deaver was the guru for Ronald Reagan. He understood staging. He understood visuals. He was one of the first ones to use big billboards and backdrops. That type of entrance. Now, I know somebody thinking, Robert, I mean, man, ain't no big deal. But no, I'm trying to tell you, you use everything at your disposal. It's called Air Force Two because the vice president is on it. But the reality is, anybody watching thinks it's Air Force One. You maximize all of the accoutrements of the office, and she is presenting herself right now as if she's the president. And I will give President Joe Biden credit. He's letting her do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely correct. And also, people have to remember that Kamala Harris has a big joker in her pocket that she can play at any moment. And don't just monitor for this. If we get to the beginning of October and the race is still a 1 or 2 point race and it looks like there's a chance of losing, you have the big joker where Joe Biden can step down and we can inaugurate Kamala Harris as the first black female president of the United States of America, and then dare America to overturn that a month later, where you can give her the Oval Office, you can give her the Resolute desk, you can move her from Air Force 2 to Air Force 1. I know Air Force 1 is just a designation for any plane that the president's on. It's not the aircraft itself. But she has that big joker in her pocket that she can hold out till the very last minute. And when you're looking at the energy, we're looking at Obama 2008 energy, something the Democratic Party was not able to manufacture for Hillary Clinton in 2016, was not able to manufacture for Joe Biden in 2020. This is something that is rare in American politics, and it's even more rare for Democrats. This is 08 Obama, 92 Clinton, 84 Jesse Jackson type of energy that we're seeing coming out of this. And this is what has the Republican Party so afraid. It's been 3 weeks and they have no idea how to attack Kamala Harris. We heard J.D. Vance come out today to attack Tim Walz with some fake accusations of stolen valor. We've heard Donald Trump questioning whether Kamala Harris was black or not. We have all these things and they're reaching for straws, but none of them are working.
So a couple of things. One, she's Vice President Kamala Harris, so we're going to always give her respect for her title. We're going to do that. On this show, we're going to refer to her as Vice President Kamala Harris or Vice President Harris. So, but let me do this here. You made a point about this. They're trying to attack Governor Walz, stolen valor. It's all BS. And in fact, I want to pull this up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. So the folks at Vote Vets did not react kindly to these attacks on Governor Walz. So let's do this here, y'all. That's from earlier. I need a live feed. I don't need the earlier video. I need a live feed so we can continue to monitor because so this is Senator Debbie Stephanopoulos who's speaking right now. So I'm monitoring this because I want to carry Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and then because she is going to be the one introducing the vice president. So this here, folks, is a graphic that the folks with Vote Vets put out as their way of responding to these attacks. And so you see right here, Republicans are saying Tim Walz retired because he knew he was going to deploy to Iraq. They say no. He submitted his retirement request to the U.S. Army National Guard months prior to notification of his unit's deployment. His unit was fully staffed, and his request was approved. He retired in May 2005. Tim Walz is using a rank he didn't attain, and that's stolen valor. BS. And the Minnesota National Guard says it's BS. It's entirely accurate to describe Tim as having been a command sergeant major, the rank under which he served in the Minnesota National Guard, as emphasized in public statements, and he can be referred to as such. Now, telling you the reason this is important is because the person who led the effort, who swift-voted Senator John Kerry, is a guy running Trump's campaign. So what you have here are Democrats learning the lesson, not falling down, not playing defense, but going on offense when you attack a veteran, 24 years, and then J.D. Vance talking about, how he was in the Marines and what he did. Dude, you were in the press office. Stop acting like you were on the front lines. Tanya, go ahead.
Yeah. And former President Trump had bone spurs and used that as a justification for not serving his country. And so instead of focusing on the policy issues and the record of the people who are running, they are, using an old playbook, right, and resorting to personal attacks. That's to be expected. And I love that the Democrats are calling bullshit.
So one of the other issues, Avis, is that they are attacking Governor Walz on his handling of the protests in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. Well, ABC News has obtained this audio that, let's just say, it's going to be a little problem for them in trying to do that when Donald Trump said all of this.
I know Governor Walz is on the vote, and with the way he handled 2 days, 3 days later, I spoke to the governor. The governor's, I think on the call, he's an excellent guy. You've got a big National Guard out there that's ready to come in and fight like hell. I tell you, the best, what they did in Minneapolis was incredible. They went in and dominated. And it happened immediately. Tim is on the phone now, Tim Walz. And again, I was very happy with the last couple of days, Tim. You called up big numbers, and the big numbers knocked them out so fast it was like bowling pins.
Our city is grieving and in pain. And I would just say, as far as the potential, the peaceful protesters are expressing an outrage that is real. They witnessed 8 minutes of a man dying in front of them. At that point in time, I did something unprecedented. I mobilized the entire Minnesota National Guard, and that's what the president was alluding to with the size of the force was capable. But I think, again, Mr. President, you asked on explaining this, I would just say it's going to be very difficult. There are bad actors in this, but there is such a legitimate anger. Our real dilemma here is the transition back is to the catalyst that sparked this across the country, and that was what happened with the Minneapolis Police Department. So we did a lot of this, what you saw yesterday, was engaging civic leaders and the peaceful protests. And I would just close with, I think the guidance is you've got to get a handle on it with that force. That is absolutely correct. And then the transition in the next phase is trying to give those spaces for the peaceful protest. And I'm happy with these things that we have to look at of how do we get reforms.
But, Tim, it showed the incredible difference between your great state yesterday and the day before compared to the first few days, which was just
absolutely.
Never seen that.
Absolutely.
A police force and take it over.
It's kind of hard, Avis, to say that wasn't me.
Oh, my God. Well, yes, once again, it's showing that, surprise, surprise, the Trump campaign is lying. But what's also very interesting to me in hearing that bit of history now is hearing Governor Walz's responses in real time. In real time, he recognized the suffering and the grieving of his city. In real time, he recognized that millions of people across the country, including those in his state, watched a man being suffocated to death for 8 minutes. In real time, he talked about the right of people to peacefully protest and him meeting with individuals and leaders in his community. So we can know from that tape in real time what type of leader, not only that he is in a moment of crisis, but what type of man he is, and really speaking the truth about injustice in the moment, instead of just trying to grandstand in a way that we saw not only President Trump doing in that specific instance, but honestly, that's all he does. He wants to be a spectacle. He's not about leadership or providing solutions. And that's just another reason why you have the right man on the ticket with the right woman at the top of the ticket at the right time in order to change this nation right now.
I'm just getting a kick out of what's going on here, Robert. They're flailing. And so what's happening is they're trying everything at once. And it's DEI, she's a DEI hire. She knows what the hell she's doing. And they're attacking him. I mean, they literally don't know what the hell to do.
Well, Roland, my favorite thing of the day is on this attack on stolen valor, because, I come from a military family, grew up in Columbus, Georgia, right there at Fort Benning. About 105-ish years ago, or about 115 years ago now, there was a guy from Germany named Friedrich D-R-U-M-P-F, who was avoiding military service in the German military. And so he came to America and changed his name to Frederick Trump. And he was a draft dodger at the time who ended up running liquor and prostitutes and all those things. And in order to clean the money, he got into New York real estate and construction, passed the business on to his son, Fred Trump, and then his grandson, Donald Trump, ended up skipping the Vietnam War with bone spurs, avoiding the draft in that case also. So not only are they attacking Tim Walz for stolen valor, Donald Trump has a family tradition going back 120 years of avoiding military service. Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka all had the opportunity to serve in the Iraq War, like many people our age did. They chose not to. Barron Trump is almost at military age. I don't think we'll see him signing up to go to the war in Eastern Europe. So for these conservatives who are national security conservatives who wrap themselves around the flag, they have to ask themselves this question of who are they lining up behind? Are they lining up behind somebody who talks a big talk, but when it comes time to put their lives on the line, them and their entire family for 3 or 4 or 5 generations have hid? Or are they going to say that someone like Tim Walz, who has done everything that we tell Americans to do, that he went to the military, served his time, that he used the GI Bill to get an education, and instead of becoming a Wall Street tech bro like J.D. Vance, he took that and became a high school teacher. He worked in a high school for 20 years, married another teacher, and then went on to public service, being rated the second most conservative member of the House of Representatives with an A+ rating from the NRA. And now they want to call him a crazy left-wing Bernie Sanders liberal. And then going on to be a governor who not just was the head of the National Governors Association, but as you just played, was honored and respected by Donald Trump. And now you're going to try to paint him as being some out-of-the-mainstream figure. They are flailing, as you said. They are throwing every piece of spaghetti at the wall. They've gone from racism to socialism to sexism to everything down the line. And what we're seeing is they don't have an answer. And the problem that Trump runs into is that he's a 45% candidate. He will never get more than 45% of the American people to support him. He has that 45% locked in, but there are no new votes for him to go get. He's not going to get young voters. He's not going to get female voters. He's not going to get Latino voters. He's not going to get African-American voters. And as Lindsey Graham once said, they're not making enough old white men fast enough to keep his candidacy afloat. So we're seeing a desperate campaign taking desperate measures as they see the walls closing around them, because in reality, there's no place for them to go.
So, Tanya, some people should be quiet, Tanya. I'm going to go to my iPad right now. Check this out. So Senator Tom Cotton, he decided to weigh in on J.D. Vance questioning Tim Walz's military service. So that, and then he said, just like he let Minneapolis burn rather than confront the BLM rioters. Well, we already know from Donald Trump's video that that kind of screws that up. But check this out. This is the same Senator Tim Scott who was running campaign ads saying that he volunteered to be an Army Ranger. This is from military.com. He got busted because that was a lie. So, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, you might be one of the last people to open your damn mouth about anybody's military service when your ass lied about being an Army Ranger.
I mean, to your point, Roland, people who live in glass houses should put down their stones. It is the problem that these Republicans are having is the record that calls the question on the truth of what they're asserting. And so they say one thing, they try to characterize the vice president, they try to characterize her running mate, but the record reveals that they expressed respect for Vice President Walz, and they can't change the record. They can't change the history. And they can't change the truth.
No, they can't. Folks, let's go live to Detroit. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
All right, hello, Michigan. 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 All
You know what I see as I look at this crowd? Oh, okay. All right, you know what I see as I look at this crowd? Happy warriors for Harrison Walz, right? Now guess what? I woke up in Big Gretch mode this morning. Because I am fired up to elect Kamala Harris our president. And I am excited about our next Vice President, Tim Walz. Now, I don't know if you all saw, but in Atlanta, they really showed up for the Vice President last week. So you know what we got to do, right? We got to be better. We got to be louder. We got to show them how we do things in Motown, right? So, Michigan, are we fired up? Are we ready to win this thing? Now, I want to spend a moment to talk about what we're fighting for, and I want to remind us all what we are up against. In this election, we have two very different candidates. One is a prosecutor, the other is a convicted felon. One is an attorney general who served the public by taking on big banks, and the other is a fraudster who only serves himself. One, a vice president who believes in reproductive freedom, or the guy who stacked the court with the people who ripped away Roe. We're not going back, right? Say it with me, we're not going back. Kamala Harris wants to move us forward and the other guy wants to take us back, but guess what? We're not going back. Kamala Harris solves problems, and the other guy is a problem. We're not going back. Kamala Harris fights for our freedoms, and the other guy wants to take them away, but we're not going back. You all are doing a great job. I love you. Kamala Harris's vision for our future is all about freedom. Can you all say, hell yeah? The freedom, not just to survive, but the freedom to get ahead. Hell yeah. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. Hell yeah. The freedom to be who you are and love who you love. Hell yeah. The freedom to be safe from gun violence in your school, in your house of worship, or in your community. Hell yeah. And the freedom to make your own damn decisions about your own damn body. Hell yeah! So, this is why Kamala Harris got the endorsement of the United Auto Workers. Can I hear from you? Because we know that Kamala Harris is going to fight for the middle class. As president, she's going to focus on getting things done that make a real difference in our lives right now. She understands what the average person is going through because, guess what? She lived a normal life. She was raised by a single mom who had a full-time job. She moved in with her sister to help her raise her children. She took care of her mom when she was battling cancer. And she is a proud stepmom with a beautiful blended family who call her Mamala. And I know a lot of us identify with some of those characteristics. All right, Mamala. All right, I like it. And so I want to say a few words about my good friend Tim Walz, too. Now, yes, he's a fellow Great Lakes governor, a good Midwesterner, but Tim and I get along because we both lead according to a three-part strategy. Get shit done. he's the only governor I know who curses more than I do. And I have a feeling that's about to change. He's a former public school teacher, a soldier. He's a former soldier and a state championship winning football coach. I mean, maybe he should help out the Vikings after we smoked them twice last year. I'm just saying. Okay. You can't take away our Lions' pride, right? All right. But here's the thing. He's been an incredibly successful governor. Like Vice President Harris, Tim worked across the aisle to build consensus. He passed the largest infrastructure bill in Minnesota. He cut taxes for working families, delivered school meals for every child, protected public safety, grew Minnesota's economy, and so much more. Now, if a lot of that sounds familiar, it's because Tim and I have been trying to outdo one another on all these fronts for the last couple of years. Here in Michigan, with partners like Detroit's own Joe Tate, the Speaker of the House, first Black Speaker of the House, we rolled back the retirement tax. We invested in our students and teachers. We passed common sense gun safety laws. We protected abortion rights, LGBTQ rights, and workers' rights. And we need partners in the White House who have our backs. And that's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will fight to help you not just get by, but to get ahead. Because every American deserves a path to prosperity, every one of us. They will fight to lower the cost of prescription drugs, make child care, pre-K, and elder care more accessible and affordable. And they will go after corporations that slap on junk fees and surprise late charges. The truth is, we cannot afford another 4 years of Donald Trump. Let's just look at his record. He did zilch on infrastructure, fail. He tried slashing Medicare and Social Security and repealing Obamacare. Thankfully, he's a failure there too. He destroyed tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs. He cut taxes for himself and his wealthy friends, and he instigated the January 6th riot. And of course, he bragged about Roe v. Wade falling. So, a second term of Donald Trump would be an unmitigated disaster. We cannot trust Donald Trump, and we must make sure he does not get back into the White House. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't buy a used car from this guy. How can you expect him to support the auto industry? I think we need some medical attention over here. I can see someone coming. Let's give the individual a little space, please. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for looking out for one another, everyone. That's what Michiganders do. So you can't trust Donald Trump. What I was saying is you wouldn't buy a used car from this guy, much less trust him with the auto industry, right? You wouldn't let him pick up the tab at dinner or trust him to pick up the tab at dinner. How can we trust him with the world's biggest economy? You can't even let him count his own strokes on the golf course. How can we trust him to protect the rule of law? So there is a lot at stake in this election, my friends. We can send Donald Trump packing again, and Michigan is going to do it. So, we need you. We need you to knock doors, because if you knock doors, we win. We need you to make calls, because if you make calls, we win. We need you to donate $1 or $2. We can win. In fact, do everything short of biting the kneecaps. For the national press, that's a Detroit Lions thing. Anyway, when we, Michigan, elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, we can wake up on November 6th, the day after the election, and say for the first time, Madam President. We need a strong woman in the White House, and it's about damn time. And a good man by her side in Vice President Tim Walz. Let's get it done, Michigan. I love you.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. They are making the transition. So we always see that, you know, when the vice president's coming out, they always put the vice presidential seal on the podium there. So it's only there when she's getting ready to speak, as opposed to the other speakers. And so we were told that the vice president will be coming out speaking around 7:15. Obviously, it's gone a little long. It's 7:27, and so that's what's going on right now. Let me quickly go to my panel before we actually bring them out. You heard there very quickly. You heard there. I'm going to go to Tanya real quick. Tanya, you heard them talk about Donald Trump wanting to leave for the automotive industry. You heard Sean Fain talk about how he basically has flipped on EVs, and so that's a huge issue. We talk about union workers there in Michigan.
Yes, his record will indict him. He can talk about what he's going to do going forward, but the best indication of what he's going to do is what he's already done or haven't done, given that he had the opportunity to do so during his 4 years as president. And so that's what he's fighting against, really, is his own record, which, as I said, is going to be the source of his indictment. He has had the opportunity to help all of these different groups, and he failed to do so. And so why should we trust, why should the voters trust that he'll do something different if he were to serve again as president?
Robert, remember he promised all these jobs, I think it was Foxconn, coming to Wisconsin. None of that actually happened as well. And so they could also hit him on that. He made lots of promises to blue-collar workers in these Rust Belt states, did not deliver.
Absolutely, and I think now they have the ticket necessary in order to do exactly that. And as I said earlier, they also have the coalition that Donald Trump doesn't have. Donald Trump went to Georgia and trashed the very popular Republican Governor Brian Kemp, trashed the very popular Secretary of State, trashed pretty much any Republican that wasn't a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA. You're not going to see those people hit the campaign trail for him when he's not there. It's a one-man show. Compare that to Vice President Harris, where she can trust Gretchen Whitmer, to hit the campaign trail for her in Michigan. She can trust Hill Harper, who unfortunately didn't win his primary, to hit the campaign trail for her. She can trust in the entire delegations there and across the country, because you have a united Democratic Party that is united in their messaging. It's very simple. You have a prosecutor versus a felon. You have somebody who supports women's rights versus a rapist. You have somebody who's going to stand up for the middle class versus somebody who is going to rape the middle class. And I think that drawing that contrast is what the American people have to see. And we're seeing that in polling, where Donald Trump, who was at one point in time up 5 or 6 points in the national polls, most recent polls have him down 5 points. And so in 3 weeks, we've seen Donald Trump squander perhaps the largest lead in American political history. And when we write the legends on this in years to come, when we look back at it, we will say this may be one of the biggest choke jobs in American history, in addition to seeing as one of the most triumphant moments for a candidate coming out of nowhere, coming from where Kamala Harris was in 2020, to really igniting the nation and becoming that voice of the future. And that is what Republicans are afraid of. And this is why we're seeing more and more outlandish attacks. None of them seem to be landing.
Right. Avis Jones DeWeaver, he also has been trying to disavow Project 2025. But actually, this dropped today. This is a photo of Donald Trump on a private plane, a 45-minute plane ride with the CEO of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts. It's a little hard to say you didn't know the guy and you never met him when this is a photo of you on a private plane flying to their conference.
This man lies like he breathes. So why are we surprised to see any of these things that keep coming out about him that is counter to what he is telling the public? Okay. And as you mentioned before, the bottom line is this. He is running not to get in the White House. He is running to stay out of jail. So he will say anything. He will do anything. He will not pull any punches that he thinks that he can use for his benefit, including stacking up people who he believes will try to pull a switcheroony on us after the election. I mean, I'm not putting anything past this man. And so the importance of this election is huge, because it's about being not only winning, but winning by such a margin, winning by such a huge statement that it will be impossible for them to finagle their way into the White House by cheating. And the beautiful thing is that we are seeing in Kamala Harris, the vice president of this United States, the type of candidate that has energized the Democratic Party in a direction that we have not seen, honestly, as you mentioned here, in well over 10 years. And so this is a woman who was made for this moment. This is a moment that was made for her. And this is the candidate that is going to literally save democracy that is at stake if we were to once again go back to that tyrant in the White House.
Folks, we are awaiting for Vice President Kamala Harris to speak in Michigan.
Of University of Detroit Jesuit High School. And I am excited to attend Wayne State University in the fall. I am so excited and so honored to be here today to support Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, who I'll be casting my vote for in my first ever presidential election this November. Medic, we need a medic. We need a medic over there. Do you have a medic yet? As a young black man in America, I don't often see people who look like me in positions of power. And now, finally being 18 years old and participating in this monumental event for the first time ever as a first-time voter is incredibly meaningful to me. There are so many reasons I'm proud to cast my first ballot for Vice President Harris. She's been a champion of so many causes that are close to my heart. There's a lot I could say here, but you guys have already been standing for a while, so I'll just give you one example. Protecting our environment. Since the 6th grade, I've been involved in environmental projects in my community, like my elementary and middle school's Solar Energy Club, where we advocated for solar panel installations and educated students on the renewable energy benefits. This passion continued into high school, where I became the president of University of Detroit Jesuits Environmental Club. We built a mental health garden that benefits students and also acts as a safe haven for wildlife. Unlike Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris has been a champion for environmental justice, including casting the tie-breaking vote to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, the largest bill to fight climate change in our nation's history. This is the kind of leadership that really matters to young voters. We care about the future of our planet because it's our future. And Vice President Harris and Governor Walz actually know how to connect with young people. They not only realize the importance of engaging with us, but they actively listen to our voices and our perspectives. Donald Trump won't fight for us. He'd drag our country backwards. Kamala Harris has a vision to move our country forward, and she's fighting for all of us and for our future. Me speaking to you all today as an 18-year-old Black, first-time voter from Detroit, it's just one example of how she is listening to the voices of young people. On Tuesday, November 5th, we all have one job, and that is to vote Vice President Harris and Governor Walz into the White House. And now, please join me in giving a warm Detroit welcome to our next Vice President, Tim Walz.
Thank you. A big thank you to Adam. I think we can all agree our future's pretty bright. Thank you, Adam. And hello, Michigan. You know, we Minnesotans, you've probably known this, we're a stoic people of few words. But holy hell, can you throw a party here in Michigan? Wow. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few friends, folks that I've gotten to know, and let's be very clear. This is someone who I consider my dearest friend, and someone who taught all the other governors how to fix the damn roads, Governor Whitmer. You have got a treasure in Michigan. And I'll tell you what, we share a lot between us in the upper Midwest. We share. Oh, we need some water. We have somebody down. We need some water. Medic. We need a medic right here. You got somebody here? Got him? All right, we got a medic on the way. Thank you for caring for your neighbors. Thank you for showing what Michigan does. Look, we share a lot of things. That's one of them. We're neighbors and we're not weird, that's for sure. But I got to tell you, something else we share is a care for the incredible natural resources. We in the upper Midwest, in our states, we care for 20% of the world's fresh water in those Great Lakes. And The Great Lakes have no better friend than your Senator Stabenow. I got some members of Congress I had the privilege of serving with and some that are new to that place. Let's be clear. We got to put gavels in the hands of these Democratic representatives so that we can get some work done. My friend Dan Kildee, Debbie Dingell, Haley Stevens, Alyssa Slotkin, Hillary Scholten, Representative Thander, I believe just won a primary here, Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, and the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party, Lavora Barnes. Thank you. And I want to just take a moment. It's been a pretty interesting 24 hours for me, I'll have to be honest. And I don't know how I could explain to you walking into that arena in Philly or that field out in Wisconsin or right here to what I have been told is the largest rally of the campaign. And look, this is a place full of working folks, students, folks who care. And I think about this. You came out here early, found a place to park, stood in the sun, sat here and wait, and you did it. You did it for one simple and eloquent and beautiful reason. You love this country. You love this country. I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. Every day of her life, Vice President Harris fights for the American people. She's taken on predators, fraudsters, and transnational gangs. You heard it. She stood up to powerful corporate interests, and she has never hesitated to reach across the aisle, try and find some common solutions. And she has done it, and this is what we know. All the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong, the one thing that I will not forgive them for is they try to steal the joy from this country. They try and steal the joy. But you know what? You know what? Our next president brings the joy. She emanates the joy. I know a little something about that commitment to people. I was born in a small town of 400 people in Nebraska, and community was the way of life. My mom and dad taught me you show generosity to your neighbors and you work for a common good amongst them. At 17, I joined the Army National Guard. And for the next 24 years, it was a privilege to wear the uniform of this country. And just as it did for my dad, a Korean War era veteran, and millions of others, I used the GI Bill to get a college education. Followed a bit in my dad's footsteps. He was a teacher. My brothers and sisters were teachers. And they married teachers. I had the privilege of teaching high school social studies. And I coached the football team. We did win a state championship. I tell you that because don't ever close the yearbook is my pro tip to you. My students are the ones who encouraged me to run for office. I never thought much about it. But they saw in me what I hope to instill in them, a commitment to the common good, a true belief that one person truly can make a difference in their world. I lived in a district where I didn't know this at the time. Only one other Democrat since 1892 had won that district. And on that election night, my neighbors graced me with the opportunity to go to the United States Congress and represent them. I learned how to compromise without compromising my values. I learned how to work across the aisle to get good things done for people. And now as governor of Minnesota, I bring those experiences together so we can tackle some of those hard problems, inequities, climate change, all of the things that we care about. Now, we got a lot of shared values in this room. By the way, is labor in the room? This might be my chance to use it. Yeah. We know who built the middle class, but here's the deal. What we know is Donald Trump, he sees the world a bit differently than we see the world. And I've been saying it, he doesn't know the first thing about service because he's way too busy serving himself. This is a big difference, again and again. He does things that weakens our country, only to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws, he sows chaos and division amongst the public, and that's to say nothing about his record as president. Let's be, he is that, he is that. Look, we had the worst crisis of a generation, and he froze during COVID. People lost their lives because of that. He drove the economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up during Donald Trump's presidency. And that's not even counting the crimes he committed. So. Some of the gray hairs in here remember a Republican Party that used to actually talk about freedom. These guys, when they talk about freedom, it means government has the freedom to invade your exam room with your doctor. Now, I know, look, we got a lot of commonalities. And I'll say this, as an NFC North guys, Vikings fans are proud of the Lions. I will say that. I will say that. But in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors' personal choices. We may not agree with them or make them from ourselves, but I've been saying this, you all know it. Our golden rule is mind your own damn business. Just mind your own business. It's amazing what minding your own damn business does to make things work better. Don't like a book, don't read it. Is there anybody in America sitting around in a bar, a bunch of people talking and say, you know what we need in this country? We need a bad animal farm. That's the first thing we even do. Nobody says that. But you know what? It would be fun if it wasn't so dangerous, because then they start thinking about things like IVF and banning IVF. And I have to tell you, this is very personal for my family. When my wife and I decided to have children, we went through years of fertility treatments. Remember, every time the phone rang, I'd catch my breath, I'd feel nervousness, and then it would be a crushing feeling when they told us that the treatments didn't work. The agony of that I can feel to this day, but I can also feel some joy in this, because it wasn't by chance, as I say this, when our daughter, and we finally conceived, and our daughter was born, we didn't hesitate at all. We named her Hope. We named her Hope. But I do have to tell you something about hope. My wife always tells me this. It's not a damn plan. We can't hope we beat this guy. We can't hope that things get better. We go out and work our butts off to make sure it happens. So when our next president walks out here and she talks about freedom, she means the freedom to make your own health care decisions. And when she comes out here and talks about that our children should be free to go to school without being shot dead in their classrooms. Look, we believe strongly in Minnesota in the Second Amendment, just like you do. But we also believe strongly in common sense gun violence prevention law. Freedom to an education's a ticket to the middle class, not crushing student loan debt. And it's a place where we know freedom means we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes. You get it. You drove out here. You stood here. Yeah. Please. Look, and let's all decide right now on this, whatever. We know it's going to be a hard race. We know it's going to be close. But let's don't be so close that these guys have anything to say. Let's don't be so close that there's anything. Let's just win the damn thing by a broader margin. Simple proposition. This election's about which direction this country's going to go in. We know Donald Trump's taking us backwards. And don't believe the act. He's playing dumb. He knows exactly what Project 2025 is going to do to our personal liberties. Destroy unions, rig the economy for the ultra-wealthy. We know that when he goes back, he's picking up and doing the same things he did when he was there the last time. Except, you all know this, it will be much, much worse when he comes back. Raising costs for all of you, repealing the Affordable Care Act. He doesn't care. Gutting Social Security, and be very clear, they can say whatever they want. They are banning abortion across this country, no questions asked. No questions asked. Yeah, you think this guy cares about you or your family? His running mate has the same dangerous and backward agenda as Trump. Well, heck, you all know it. Every regular person in the heartland went to Yale, had Silicon Valley billionaires fund his career, and then he writes a book trashing the very community that raised him. That whole thing is, I wasn't calling anybody names. I was just making an observation about them. We can see it. And here's my thing. There's a lot of things going to happen, by the way. We got about 91 days, and I keep telling people this, 91 days. My God, you can do anything for 91 days. 90. Christ, I haven't slept in 24 hours. You know why? We'll sleep when we're dead. We'll sleep when we're dead. Get it done. Here's my brass ring I'm looking for. I can't wait to debate this guy. I cannot wait to talk about what they think. I can't wait to ask him why he wants to take health care and take reproductive rights, and why he wants to make sure that the wealthiest pay no taxes as we destroy unions in the middle class. So here's the deal. You said it. These ideas that they're putting out there, they are weird as hell. No one's asking for it. No one's asking for it. We're asking a fair shot. We're asking for health care and child care. We're asking for an education. We're asking for safety in our streets. That's what we're asking for. And we're going to get it because that's what this campaign's about. It's about moving forward. Look, you know that Kamala Harris believes that you should be making the own choices in your life. She believes that every person should have an opportunity to enter the middle class. She believes in something so beautiful and simple with joy. She believes in the promise of this great nation. Look, she can take care of herself out front, and she said it. If they want to talk smack, she said it. Say it to my face, damn it. Say it to my face. But what I got to say is, we got to have her back. We got to have her back. So, Madam Vice President, thank you for the trust you placed in me. Michigan, help me right now give a warm Midwest welcome to the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
together. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Can we hear it up for Tim Walz? Isn't he amazing? He's going to be the most incredible vice president. All right, so it is good to be back and to be with so many incredible leaders. I love you. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thank you for your friendship, your sisterhood, and your leadership, and we are going to do this together. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, thank you so much. His parents are over there. And the members of Congress, including Senator Debbie Stabenow, my dear friend. And your next United States Senator, Representative Elisa Slotkin. We're going to get that done. Mayor Mike Duggan, thank you for the warm welcome always. And of course, it is so good to be with the President of the United Auto Workers, my dear friend Shawn Fain. And last week, it was my honor, it feels like last year. Last week, it was my great honor to accept the endorsement of the United Auto Workers. Over there. We need a medic over there, please. There should be medics in each corner. We're good? Okay. All right. Look, let's all take care of each other and look out for each other, all right? That's who we are. We look out for each other. Okay. So, as I said to Shawn, as I talked to Shawn about this election is going to be a fight. We like a good fight. When you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for. So I'm so proud to have UAW by my side because y'all know how to fight and you know how to win. Today, I also bring greetings from our incredible President Joe Biden. That's right. Joe. That's right. And I know we are all deeply, deeply grateful to Joe for his lifetime of service to our nation. And we thank you, Joe Biden, each and every day for all you are and all you still have yet to do. Thank you, Joe. 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 That's right. I'm going to tell him what you said. So, Michigan, this has been a big week. On Monday, I officially became the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. My running mate in this campaign, Governor Tim Walz. And as you just heard, he has an incredible record as governor of the great state of Minnesota. And to those who know him best, some people are just getting to know him, but I'm going to tell you, you got to know him real quick because he's incredible. He's a serious, serious man. He has been a serious leader, and he loves our country. And you know, I've talked to some of the people who know him best, like his wife, Gwen. And to Gwen, Tim Walz's husband, to his To his kids, Hope and Gus, he is Dad. To his fellow veterans, he is Sergeant Major Walz. To the people of southern Minnesota for 12 years, he was a congressman. To his former high school students, he is Mr. Walz. And to his former high school football players, he was Coach. And in 90 days, the nation will know Coach Walz by the title Vice President of the United States. That's right. So it is so good to be back in Michigan. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And with your help, we will win in November. We will win. And I know we are all clear about what we are up against. As many of you know, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected as a United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General, and before that, elected District Attorney, and before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, scammers who broke the rules for personal gain. So hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I've been dealing with them my whole career. For example, as Attorney General of California, I took on one of the country's largest for-profit colleges that scammed students. Well, Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. You remember that? As a prosecutor, I specialize in cases of sexual abuse. Well, Donald Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General, I held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud. Well, Donald Trump was just found guilty of fraud. 34 counts, to be exact. Hold on. You know what? Here, hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We'll beat them in November. We'll handle that. But all that to say, in this campaign, I proudly put my record against his any day of the week. Any day of the week. But make no mistake, our campaign, this campaign, is not just about us versus Donald Trump. It's bigger than that. It is about two very different visions for the future of our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. And Michigan, we here fight for the future. We fight for the future. We fight for a future where every worker has the freedom to join a union, where every senior can retire with dignity, a future with affordable housing, affordable child care, affordable health care, and paid leave. A future where we build a broad-based economy where every American has an opportunity to own a home, to start a business, and to build wealth. And understand, in this fight, we are joyful warriors. Because while fighting for a brighter future may take hard work, we all here know hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. We believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families, so they have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because look, while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be my day one priority to fight to bring down prices, to take on the big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging, take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families, to take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. That is the work we will do together. And all of this to say, unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first. Because Coach Walz and I know the middle class built this great country of ours, and when the middle class is strong, America is strong. And look, as we move our nation forward, Donald Trump intends to take our nation backward. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. Project 2025. Please do check out Project 2025, because I'm telling you, it is a plan. It is a plan to weaken America's middle class. Project 2025, if he is elected. Because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now. I am speaking now. So Project 2025, look, if he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking. Because we know what that would look like. And again, understand, Donald Trump intends to end the Affordable Care Act and take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that looked like. And we're not going back. We're not going back. Our fight is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on attack on hard-fought, hard-won fundamental freedoms and rights, and we will not stand for it. Attacks on the freedom to vote, attacks on the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, and the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now the baton is in our hands, each and every one of us. So we, who believe in the sacred freedom to vote, will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and red flag laws. We who believe in the freedom to organize will pass the PRO Act and put an end to union busting once and for all. And we who believe in reproductive freedom will fight for a woman's right to choose. Remembering what Donald Trump did to pick 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would take away this freedom, and they did as he intended. We who are paying attention to the fact that now over 20 states in our country have a Trump abortion ban, many with no exceptions, even for rape and incest. And we all know if he wins, he would sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every state, and that would include the great state of Michigan. But we're not going back. And on that point, it is because there is a thing about who we are that is a bit different from the folks on the other side. We trust women to know what is in their best interest and not have their government telling them what to do. And when I am President of the United States and Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedoms, I will sign it into law. So Michigan, here's the thing. So much is on the line in this election. And we gotta remember, you know, we knew who he is and what he was about in 16 and in 20, but there's also something else that has happened recently that we really have to prioritize in our mind about the danger we're looking at. Last month, the United States Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be immune no matter what he does in the White House. about that. Think about what that means. Think about what that means. The man has openly vowed, if reelected, that he will be a dictator on day one. Think about what that means when he said that he will even, quote, terminate the Constitution of the United States. Because let us be very clear, someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Vote. That's right. So here's the thing, to your point. When it comes down to all of the things that are important about this, I think the most important thing that I love you back, and listen, one of the things that I know brings us all out today and always is we love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That is how we preserve the promise of America. After all, the promise of America, think about it, is what makes it possible for Tim Walz and me to be together on this stage today. Think about it. Think about that. 2 middle-class kids, one a daughter of Oakland, California, who was raised by a working mother. I had a summer job at McDonald's. The other, a son of the Nebraska Plains who grew up working on a farm. Only in America is it possible for them together to make it all the way to the White House. Only in America. Only in America. So we are running this campaign on behalf of all Americans, from red states to blue states, from the heartland to the coasts. And when elected, I promise you we will govern on behalf of all Americans. I promise that. So I'll close with this. Michigan, ultimately, in this election, we each face a question. We each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? And the beauty of our democracy, we each have the power to answer that question. We each have the power to answer that question. The power is with the people. So in the next 90 days, we need you to use your power. We need you to knock on some doors. We need you to register folks to vote. We need you to organize and energize and mobilize and make your voices heard. So Michigan, I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States.
Vice President Kamala Harris wrapping up her speech there in Detroit. Some 15,000 people there at an airport hangar. They had so many people who RSVP'd for this rally, they had to move the location. An incredible rally. The second one of the day. The second rally of the day. They were in Wisconsin this afternoon. And again, they're there for this particular event. Just absolutely packed. Lots of energy, lots of excitement. Now, what happened there were clearly some protesters who started screaming. And so you heard the vice president there say a few words to them. You see them now on stage. VP Kamala Harris to her left, Senator Debbie Stabenow, who's retiring, Congresswoman Elise Slotkin to her left. She won last night in the primary. Of course, in the purple dress, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Then, of course, to her, next to her, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. He talked about what it was like when they rolled up on Air Force Two, coming off that plane, and the energy and the excitement of the audience. It shows you how people are fired up about this campaign. New polling data came out today showing how the race has changed and how, when you look at the data, how she's now up in Wisconsin and Michigan. And so the election is going to come down to, again, 7 battleground states. And so you are seeing this type of energy and excitement. Right now, you're seeing Vice President Harris, Governor Walz going down to the rope line, where they are going to be, of course, shaking lots of hands, taking photos with the supporters. So you see what's going on there right now. And so lots of Secret Service there as they are protecting the vice president. And so, again, folks, absolutely amazing rally here. And again, you see how Democrats are energized with Harris now at the top of the ticket. Energized in terms of these rallies. The reality is there wasn't a single rally that President Joe Biden had that attracted 10, 15,000 people. The kind of money they've raised last month, $317 million in the first 24 hours. In the first 24 hours since Walz was named as the VP nominee, they've raised $36 million. $36 million. A lot of that money coming from teachers. Also, a lot of them first-time donors as well. And most of those donors, I saw this 75 or 80% donations, less than $200. You see the folks there in the red shirts, the UWA workers. And so you've got a lot of different people who are there, regular, ordinary folk, union workers. You see lots of white voters, African Americans, and others. And so you are seeing a really intense campaign. And so let me do this here. I showed you this yesterday. They are moving on to new locations. Give me a second. I'm going to show you where they're going to be over the next 3 days. Someone was telling me about some weather issues that are happening in Raleigh, North Carolina. Not sure if that is still taking place. If the rally's still going, go back to the rally, please. So I'm going to be pulling up the graphic here, just showing you where these other events are taking place, so you are aware. And so here's the deal, folks. Let's see here, give me a second. On tomorrow, they're supposed to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. The day after, Phoenix, Arizona. And then August 10th, Las Vegas, Nevada. And so they're going to be in those 3 cities. And so already massive rally yesterday in Philadelphia, 2 today, Detroit and Wisconsin. And again, going to North Carolina, going to Arizona, and going to Nevada. Those are, of course, 6 of the 7 battleground states that are looking at. The only one that you don't see on there is Georgia. She, of course, was in Georgia last week, but that was before picking Tim Walz. Governor Tim Walz is her nominee, so I'm quite sure they're going to have planning a rally there soon. They're going to be hitting other places as well. Like I said, some 15,000 people attending this rally today, and so lots to cover. And so we appreciate all of you for staying with us on all of our channels, on our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, y'all hit the like button because nobody else is doing this. Hey, I was told the cable nets had bailed out. They were not fully covering it. We are committed to covering in full all of these rallies that Vice President Kamala Harris has. And so that's the work that we are doing. And so we want y'all to support the work that we do. Because again, other networks, look, make their own decisions. We're the only black-owned news network. We're the only daily black news show. Go back to the rally, please. The show, let me go back to the rally. We're the only ones who are doing this work. We're the only ones who are committing this level of resources every single day to bringing you the stuff other networks are not bringing you the kind of guests that you're not getting elsewhere. And so that's what we're doing. And so we appreciate all of you for watching. We appreciate you for being with us. And again, not sure how long the VP and the governor are going to be, of course, working this rope line, but they understand the importance of meeting the voters, touching the voters. And so these events have played a crucial role in the building of this campaign. And you're seeing what happens, the results in the polling data. You're seeing an enthusiasm gap. You're seeing it in the fundraising. You're seeing it in the volunteers. And not just in those 7 battleground states. We're seeing people who are volunteering in Florida, in Texas, in Tennessee, other places. This is having an impact on down ballot races as well. Not just U.S. Senate, not just House races, but also state races, local races. And so this is what you call coattails. And so I think you're going to see a lot of this. And don't forget, this is only August 7th. We're going to be in Chicago August 19th to the 23rd, covering the Democratic National Convention. We're going to be live every night, 6 p.m. to midnight, covering everything, having some of the top voices on the air as well. And again, the only black news network. We're going to be doing this every single night. What we're doing here at the Black Star Network, nobody else is doing. Ebony is not doing what we're doing. Essence is not doing what we're doing. Black Enterprise is not doing what we're doing. Blavity is not doing what we're doing. The Griot is not doing what we are doing. None of these folks are. This is a moment, and this is where black-owned media, again, Revolt's not doing what we're doing. TV One's not doing what we're doing. BET is not doing what we're doing. So just understand why these things matter, why black-owned media must be standing up. Where we were with TV One in 2008 when Obama was running is exactly why we're doing what we're doing right now in 2024, covering this race in this moment, speaking to these issues. And so, again, folks, you see that they continue to be on the road line. Not sure what the heck. This is probably the live feed from the pool camera. It's probably what this is. And so, but you still see the vice president there, folks. We're gonna do this here. I'm gonna save my voice. I'm almost over COVID. Still trying to get my voice back 100%. Been doing lots of liquids, lots of rest. Thank you for all of your prayers. Folks are sending me text messages and things like that. So I totally appreciate it. But do me a favor, folks. Support the work that we do. We don't get the support of advertisers like these white mainstream networks. We don't. I'm battling them every single day. There's a lawsuit going against Pepsi right now. PepsiCo has done nothing for us. They've been playing games as well. So you know what? That's what's going on. So what we want you to do, support the Black Star Network. Your resources are critical to our survival. We want to be traveling around the country, taking the show on the road in September, in October, in the first week of November. Because we want to hear your voices. I'm sick and tired of listening to white people in diners on Fox News and MSNBC and CNN. Black people also have something to say about this election. And so we want to be able to hear from you, to talk to you, to get your perspective. So our goal is real simple. There's no amount that doesn't matter. We ask folks to give $50. You can give less, you can give more. We appreciate every single dollar. So send your check and money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One. Shout out Joshua Allen, who just sent $20 via PayPal. Shout out Christine, who just sent $25 via Cash App. Shout out Cheryl Brody, who just sent $20 via Cash App. Shout out Alice Jones, who just sent $50 via Zelle. Laura Brown, thank you for your $5. It matters. Anita Nickens, $50. IVL Soaps, $25. Bonaventure, $25. Nicole Smith, $5. I'm telling y'all, I'm not. All of this absolutely matters. It goes to pay for staff, to pay for travel, to pay for live streaming, to pay for our equipment, all of this sort of stuff. It absolutely matters. Your support is critical to the work that we do. So keep giving, even when we sign off. Listen, it was almost 5,000 of y'all on YouTube. Do y'all understand that if 5,000 people, and you can give directly on YouTube, but we prefer to you give to us direct. Pull the graphic back up, because that way we don't have to share any of that money with anybody else. So to support us, all kind of different guys, pull the graphic back up to support the show. Thank you. A lot of y'all don't believe in technology. Check your money order. P.O. Box 57196. K.L. Young, thanks for $100 on Cash App. Debbie, your $5. Charmaine, your $50. Andrea Hollins, your $5. I appreciate it. Some of you, I see you giving $27.45 on YouTube. And others, Colin King, thank you for your $5. I'm telling y'all, listen, the cable networks, I had a text from somebody who said they missed Kamala Harris checking the protesters because they were watching cable news. Well, we didn't break away. Sylvia, your $25. Sharon Bones, your $50. I appreciate it. I'm telling y'all, we're doing something here the rest of these people are not doing. We're not playing games here. We want to 30. Edward Davis. Edward Davis. Thank you so very much, Edward, for your $200. Kimberly Gordon, $20. Tyrese Eccles, your $20. I appreciate it so much. Dawn Downing, your $20. Tina Bain, your $10. Leonard Sims, your $25. Ken Ship, your $50. Damon Blissett, your $25. Chandra Jackson, your $5. Lakeisha Scott, your $50. Damon Blissett, your $25. Mark Collins, your $10. Avis Johnson, your $50. Suzette Johnson, your $25. Marilyn Taylor Moy, your $20. Mark Collins, your $10. Frank Taylor, your $30. Sorrel Law, your $50. Antoine Ferrier, your $5. Victor Rector, your $50. Johnny Watson, $25. India Monique, $25. Shayna Parker, $50. Christy Lewis, $25. Andre Hightower, $5. Ronnie Davis, $25. Timothy Hill, $20. Gene Smith, $12. Timothy Berry, $25. Ethelene, $25. Larnell Farmer, $50. Deidre Thomas, $10. Jerlene Holbrook, $50. I need y'all to understand, we don't have a sponsor. Keep the graphic up. We do not have a sponsor who's paying any of our expenses to the Democratic National Convention. It's going to cost us minimum $25,000 for the Democrat National Convention. We're going to have a team of 7 people in Chicago, and we're going to broadcast live every single day, 6 to midnight. We're going to cover other events as well. There is no black-owned media outlet that's going to give you the kind of coverage that we're going to give you. There is no mainstream media outlet that is going to cover as many black voices as we are going to cover. So when you support this show, you are supporting black-owned media. You are supporting the kind of news coverage that MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC are not going to give you. There are going to be events happening in the morning, lunchtime, afternoon, evening, plus the events at the convention center every single night. We are going to be there. We've already secured our location. We're going to be in a prominent position like everybody else. So we are about our business of covering the issues that matter to you. Y'all, I'm going to go 3 more minutes. So everybody who gives the next 3 minutes, and again, I'm trying to keep my voice. I'm going to shout out Regina Dotson, you're 5. Deborah, you're 20. Erica Burks, you're 50. Aretha Bracey, you're 100. Charles D., you're 10. Dylan Redmond, you're 23. Melanie Morgan, you're 25. Walter Chisholm, you're 20. Anthony Sanders, you're 30. Earl Williams, you're 100. Michael Dokes, you're 50. Blaine King says, I'm a TV producer. Keep going. Harris Ganessen, you're 50. John Williams, you're 100. Ken Colby, Alvin Davis, Doreen Brown, Melanie Morgan, Talitha Black, Jason Sneed, Charles A., Christopher Ely, Andre Hollins, Jerry Johnson, Daryl Carter, Perry Saunders, KJ Alladay, Andre Hollins, all of you. Thank Joshua Allen. 2 more minutes. Cam Comics, Marquita Olive, Benny Viverette, Craig Buchanan, Anthony Stevenson. 1 more minute. Christine, LaWanda Rivers, Anthony Stevenson, Ora Lee, Terry Carter, Maurice Smith, Jennifer Medlock, Byron Watley, George, Courtney Benton, Chantel Scott. 30 seconds. Lalu B. Deidre Jackson. Marthenia Howard. Elena Boston. Sharice T. Cynthia Gilbert. Shawnee Wiggins. Herman Houston. Sarita. Brandon Bracey. Thaddeus Patrick. Dolores Green. Robert Mitchell. Tamika Pitts Jones. Najia Baith. Kathy Moore. And I'm going to do this here. Y'all can take do this here. Barry Martin, thanks a lot. Y'all can take a screenshot of this. So this is our Cash App. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. Take a picture of your screen right now. Again, there are nearly 5,000 of y'all on YouTube. Everybody who's watching, take a picture of this, and I want you to share this on your social media and tell them support Roland Unfiltered. Okay, Anthony, go back to, okay, so hold this up for 10 seconds. Everyone, take a picture of this and share on your social. This is our only Cash App. All right, Anthony, pull the other graphic up. Y'all can take a picture of this. I'm going to post this on my social. I'm going to post my Cash App, and y'all can repost it and share it. This is all about spreading the information so we can sit here, raise the resources, but also so we can keep doing the work. That's vitally important. All right, folks, that is it for us. We will see you tomorrow, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on the Black Star Network. And yes, I had several of these printed, so I'm, again, wearing, this is Montgomery Brawl anniversary week, so I'm wearing this, and we're going to take this chair to Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and MAGA, and hashtag Team Whip That Ass. Going to send them to another loss in November. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Holla!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?